Inside the Magic, show number 421 for April 28th, 2013. It is Sunday, April 28th, 2013. This is show 421 of Inside the Magic, and as always, I'm your host, Ricky Briganti. We do have another great show packed with more news than you can possibly imagine. It's been a very, very busy week, but before we get to that, I invite you to visit InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and plenty more. And if you ever have any news, tips, questions, comments, anything else that you want to send in, you can do so by writing to me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. We've got a magical offer up our sleeves. Experience the newly expanded Disney California Adventure Park, featuring the new 12-acre Cars Land and the one and only original Disneyland Park with its world-famous attractions and beloved Disney characters, and save up to 20% when you stay at one of the Disneyland Resort hotels from now through May 22nd. You're going to do all that by calling Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387, or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote, and be sure to mention Inside the Magic to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And thanks very much to Jerry Avento for your donation this week, and of course everybody who has made any kind of contribution to the show, clicking through the affiliate links or monthly donations, etc., etc. It's all wonderful and supports the show, and I thank you for all of it. And now let's get started with a really, really big trip around the world. This week out here at Walt Disney World was a big two-day Monstrous summer press event. Disney was looking forward to the next few months. The summer, of course, is one of the busiest seasons out here, but that doesn't stop Disney from promoting and re-promoting and really even making some big announcements for the future, really to entice everybody to come to Walt Disney World, and now, and again, and again, and again. In addition, there was also a simultaneous press event going on out in California. So we're going to be talking about both of those here, and the biggest announcement that came out of all of it actually was not about Walt Disney World or Disneyland. Really, it was looking a bit toward the sea. And that was confirmation and the announcement of the big Disney Magic cruise ship makeover. Because that was the biggest news of the week, I'm going to be revisiting that a little bit later in the show, talking much more in depth about what is happening to the Magic, everything, all the really exciting things that are going on there. So stay tuned right after the news here to hear all about that. Also, as I said, in addition to news that is sort of things that are going on now, things that are going on in the near future, we're also looking ahead to things like the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Princess Fairy Tale Hall. Now, I had a chance to do a little bit of a construction tour and some interviews related to that. You can already head on over to InsideTheMagic.net or visit our YouTube channel to see a bit more about what came out of that. And you can look forward to more of that in upcoming shows, but the Magic is definitely the focus of this week's show, in addition to a whole lot of other really, really fun and exciting news, which is what we're going to get to right now. So let's start with, it is the Monstrous Summer, of course, is what Disney was promoting, and they're calling it the Monstrous Summer because Monsters University is coming out in a couple of months. It's June 21st is when that prequel to Monsters, Inc. from Disney and Pixar is hitting theaters, and as such, Disney had some monster-related entertainment offerings that they are unveiling out here in Orlando, in Walt Disney World, as well as Disneyland. Mike and Sully are meeting, as they usually do, but now they are in their collegiate attire. There's going to be a Monsters University Student Union that you can explore a little bit, and of course you've got Mike Wazowski with his braces and a Monsters University hat, and Sully has a Letterman jacket. That's happening at Disney's Hollywood Studios, as well as the Disney California Adventure theme park. In addition, out here in Orlando at the Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor, the attraction in Tomorrowland, that is being updated, probably for the first time since it opened, with some new jokes and some new comedy bits that surround Monsters University. Also out here at Walt Disney World is the introduction of the Monster Rail. That is a Monsters University monorail. I believe it's monorail teal, if I'm not mistaken, that has been wrapped with a Monsters University theme. It's actually really well done. You know, a lot of the previous wraps that Disney has done, the Tronorail, the Avenger Rail, and most recently the Iron Manor Rail, those are all unofficial names, of course, they all really took over the entire look of the monorail, whereas this Monsters University monorail wrap is a lot more, well, it's not subtle, but it really uses how the monorail looks, and it's as if the characters are hanging out of the windows of the monorail, and they've put up banners for Monsters University all over it. It's pretty cool looking. I definitely like the way that it looks. Continuing with the Monstrous theme, on the evening of the first night of this Monstrous summer press event over at Epcot, following a day filled with a whole lot of fun, there was a special announcement planned with a special huge surprise projected onto Spaceship Earth. And rather than me telling you all about this announcement, I'm going to let Walt Disney World President George Kalogridis take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We're hoping you're enjoying your time with us, and as Sunny promised, we have a special announcement. So to teach you about it, I would like to welcome a special friend direct from Monsters University.
All right.
Please welcome our favorite Scare School student, Mike Wazowski.
Oh, our outage? No problem. I got an announcement that's gonna light up your world. Yes, sirree. Okay, there's a light switch around somewhere. At Monsters University. And you know my favorite thing about school? Summer vacation! And this is gonna be one monstrous summer! So we gotta start by cramming in as much fun as we can by bringing an all-nighter! Oh wait, you don't have any power. Not to worry, I am in this scare school where screams generate energy. Hang on. I've got my eye on you, so get ready to be scared. What? Nothing? No screams? Okay, Wazowski, find your inner scary. Yeah! All right. You are forcing me to pull out all the stops.
Thanks, Mike. As Mike hinted in a really big way, we're excited to announce that on Friday, May 24th, the first day of Memorial Day weekend, Disney Parks will kick off our Monstrous Summer with an amazing 24-hour all-nighter. May 24th, 24 hours. For the first time ever, 3 amazing Disney parks will be open all day and all night, all at the same time. These include the Magic Kingdom here in Florida, as well as both Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure in California. Guests can begin Memorial Day weekend with a marathon of memory making as all 3 parks stay open through the night to celebrate the bi-coastal kickoff of our Disney Parks Monstrous Summer. All 3 will feature non-stop Disney magic, including special entertainment and merchandise, exclusive food and beverage, and many other surprises. Our favorite students, Mike and Sully, will drop in to scare up some school spirit as official mascots of the all-nighter. This magical event will occur from 6 a.m. on May 24th until 6 a.m. on May 25th. Then, if you want, you can grab some breakfast and come back, as all 3 parks will be open for their regular park hours. And the Monstrous fun gets even bigger as the all-nighter is just the beginning. This summer, Disney Parks will be bursting with a monstrous lineup of memorable experiences and shows and many more celebrations. I look forward to sharing more with you tomorrow at our media breakfast. But before we say goodnight, I would like to invite Mike back for a quick photo op with all of you. As it isn't every day that we're visited by a giant green cyclops. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you at Disney Parks Monstrous Summer.
There you have it, a big announcement and a whole lot of fun over at Epcot. For those of you who are just listening to the audio version of this show, you're definitely going to want to head over to InsideTheMagic.net or check our YouTube channel to see what all that commotion was all about, because the Mike Wazowski that you heard in the quick, small appearance by Sully there as well, scaring, was projected huge onto Spaceship Earth. Mike Wazowski, his face took up the entirety of Spaceship Earth. It was big, and it was green, and it was animated, and it was pretty impressive. So definitely head on over to the website if you haven't had a chance to see that. Now on to and I should also mention that was a one-night only thing. Don't expect to go to Epcot and see giant Mike Wazowski. Just like the Dragon flew over New Fantasyland back in December for the grand opening of New Fantasyland. That was for that press event as well. This was just for being a spectacle for the attending media and anybody who happened to be very late at Epcot that evening. So talking a little bit more about that announcement that there will indeed be another 24-hour day out here at Walt Disney World as well as at Disneyland. The last time was last year, of course, one more Disney Day on February 29th for Leap Year or Leap Day. This time they're calling it the Monstrous Summer All-Nighter, and it's part of Limited Time Magic. Of course, it is for one day, full 24 hours from 6 a.m. May 24th to 6 a.m. May 25th. The Magic Kingdom will be open out here in Florida, and this time they're expanding it to two parks out in California, Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, because the response last time was enormous. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people were standing outside the Disneyland front turnstiles last time around and couldn't get in because the park had reached capacity, and so it ended up being quite the commotion. So this time around, they're opening up both parks, and there's going to be additional entertainment both out here and out there. So in Florida, there's going to the Magic Kingdom's going to have a Monsters University theme. Mike and Sully will be the grand marshals of the Celebrate a Dream Come True Day Parade, along with plenty of pomp and circumstance. They'll be making appearances in Tomorrowland as well, and there'll be extra entertainment throughout the day and night with characters in their pajamas in Town Square, the late night and early morning hours, some late night dance parties around Cinderella Castle. So very similar to last time, except with the addition of the Monsters University theme. However, in California, they're adding a lot more entertainment this time around. There will be, of course, dance parties and the like, including a Monsters University dance club, as well as Star Wars characters in Tomorrowland dancing also. There will be character pajama party in Mickey's Toontown at Disneyland. The Fantasy Fair Royal Theater will be a royal dance hall late at night with a live band and dancing. So those of you who are missing swing dancing, that sounds like they're going to work sort of that element in there, having a live band perform in that former Carnation Plaza Gardens area. Also, over at Disney California Adventure, there's going to be monstrous photo opportunities with the Monsters University dorms in Hollywoodland, as well as a new Monsters University float in the Pixar Play Parade. Of course, there'll be plenty of merchandise and food and beverages and all that good stuff throughout. So if you didn't make it out to the 24-hour day last year, this is your chance on May 24th to give it another shot. Now, continuing with this Monstrous Summer event that took place Thursday and Friday, the next morning, after that Epcot event sort of capped it off for the evening, the next morning was a continuation with a special presentation over breakfast at the Grand Floridian. And during that presentation, there was another limited time magic announcement. So once again, I'm going to turn it over to Walt Disney World President George Kalogridis and a few more special guests.
Some of our limited time magic is only announced the day it happens. Some of it is only announced a few days or weeks beforehand. And I have an example of it that I would like to share this morning. For the past 16 years, Walt Disney World has been host to our world-famous Star Wars weekends. They include a special Star Wars-themed parade, appearances by Star Wars celebrities, a Star Wars-themed talk show, and more. In fact, these weekends are so popular that you here this morning?
You may dispense with the pleasantries. I sensed my presence was being summoned.
Do you want me to freeze him in carbonite?
No. The force is strong in this room.
Oh, you're right there. The force is strong. In fact, I was just getting ready to announce why. You probably already have our Star Wars Weekends dates for 2013 on your calendar. They'll run from May 17th through June 9th. But because the 4th of May is celebrated around the world as an unofficial Star Wars Day, we are featuring limited time magic all day on that date at Disney Hollywood Studios. On Saturday, May 4th, for the first time ever, a parent will be able to join their Padawan in a special family edition of the Jedi Training Academy. In addition, fans can bounce to the beat of the latest hits from the Planet Despin in a special Star Wars dance party hosted by DJ Lobat. And to cap things off, we're staging a special Symphony of the Stars nighttime spectacular. And remember, Lord Vader, this is one day only, the 4th day of May. So may the 4th be with you.
Impressive.
Most impressive. We will meet again.
We'll be counting the minutes.
You know, over the last few years, Darth Vader has certainly made a habit of breaking into Disney's press events. I think the first time that happened was back in 2009 with the revamp of Star Tours was announced at the D23 Expo. He's been spotted a few times since then doing the same thing, and now during this Monstrous summer press event, once again, Vader was there along with Boba Fett. Of course, George Calagridis called him Baba Fett. I guess he's not a big Star Wars fan, but regardless of that, Darth Vader and Boba Fett were there to usher in this announcement for more limited time magic coming up very, very soon. In fact, even before Star Wars Weekends begins in a couple of weeks out here at Walt Disney World, there's going to be the May the 4th be with you. That's right, I didn't have a lisp there. It is May the 4th, as in the 4th of May, as in about a week, less than a week from now. This coming Saturday at Disney's Hollywood Studios, as well as a little bit out at Disneyland, but mostly at Hollywood Studios. There's going to be a whole lot of extra entertainment in store there. There will be plenty of Star Wars characters out and about. In fact, Star Wars characters will even be riding Star Tours with guests. Parents will have a chance to join their kids for the Jedi Training Academy for the first time. Not just any adults. You have to be with a kid, unfortunately, and you have to go early to sign up for that. There are a limited number of spots available. Of course, there will be plenty of merchandise available as well. There's going to be a special dance party near the end of the night with DJ Lobot, and there will also be a Symphony in the Stars fireworks to cap off the evening. So a pretty exciting day in advance of Star Wars Weekends for that day only that one single day, May the 4th. Of course, that is Star Wars Day. Makes perfect sense. Now, out at Disneyland, they're kind of sort of celebrating Star Wars Day. They've got some merchandise coming out. Yeah, that's about it. So Disney's Hollywood Studios will definitely be the place to be on May the 4th. Now, that same morning, there were many more announcements. That is when all of the cruise line news came out, which we'll be getting to in just a little bit here. However, there was pretty much a surprise announcement that came once again from Walt Disney World President George Kalogridis, and that a new daytime parade is on the way next year, 2014, for the Magic Kingdom. It's called the Disney Festival of Fantasy Parade. It is going to debut in spring of 2014. And its goal is to bring the stories of New Fantasyland from as well as throughout the park with some all new parade floats, costumes, a new soundtrack, and songs from favorite Disney films, and a new parade theme song as well. The featured stories within this Festival of Fantasy Parade will be from The Little Mermaid, Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Tangled, Brave, and more. A little bit of artwork has been released, not all of it, of some of the new floats, and it's looking pretty impressive. Definitely a very, very different parade than what has been running at the Magic Kingdom for about 13 years now. It's been a long time since the Magic Kingdom got a new parade. The current daytime parade it's got a couple of different names over the last 13 years or so. It's had some subtle changes here and there, but really it hasn't been all new until next year. So definitely looking forward to that. Of course, it's the Celebrated Dream Come True parade is what is being replaced. So some pretty exciting surprise news there. I'm sure Disney will be sharing much, much more from this upcoming daytime parade for the Magic Kingdom within the next year or so until it does make its debut. And also making its debut in spring 2014, Disney has now named that as the time frame for the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. That's, of course, being constructed right in the heart of a New Fantasyland. It is still a big construction site, but there's no specific opening date, but Disney has kind of narrowed it down to spring of 2014. In addition, talking about the Princess Fairy Tale Hall, another element of New Fantasyland, that's scheduled to open in late 2013. So later this year, they haven't said exactly when. A couple of additional details that have come out about Princess Fairy Tale Hall. The way it's going to work is there actually is going to be two standby lines in there. You go one way, you meet a pair of princesses. You go the other way, you meet a different pair of princesses. In one, there will be Cinderella. The other will be Rapunzel. And then each one will have a friend. It could be Snow White. It could be Jasmine. It could be other familiar faces. The ones who will not be appearing in there, of course, are Ariel and Belle, because they have their own areas in New Fantasyland. However, a lot of the other princesses will rotate in and out, and more details will be shared about Princess Fairy Tale Hall in the coming weeks here on the show. And as I said earlier, you can head on over to InsideTheMagic.net as well to hear a little bit more. Continuing with this week's excitement, in addition to all of the Monstrous Summer Press event, a few days prior was Disney's Animal Kingdom, the 15th anniversary of that park on Earth Day, April 22nd. Early in the morning, just before the park opened, was a special ceremony at the Tree of Life. Josh DeMero, the Vice President of Disney's Animal Kingdom, along with Dr. Jackie Ogden, who is the Vice President of Animal Science and Environment there, were in attendance, as well as a performance of Circle of Life from the park's Festival of the Lion King cast took place. If you want to see some video highlights from that, head on over to our YouTube channel. Now, just a minute ago, I was talking about princesses, and I just found out this weekend that coming up on May 11th at the Magic Kingdom is going to be another princess coronation ceremony. The newest Disney princess officially is going to be Merida from Brave. It's going to take place at 9:30 a.m. in front of Cinderella Castle. That will make, I believe, 11 princesses total. Of course, the last one to have a coronation was Rapunzel. She had her grand coronation out at Kensington Palace in the UK, and that was quite the ceremony. If you head on over to our YouTube channel, you'll see it was very, very popular. In fact, 2.5 million people have viewed our video of that coronation, so I'm looking forward to heading over to the Magic Kingdom in a couple of weeks to see Merida become officially a Disney princess, and I believe she'll be the first Disney princess from the world of Pixar, so definitely unique there. Now, earlier I mentioned that simultaneous with the Monstrous summer press event out here in Walt Disney World was another one out at Disneyland. And, of course, I couldn't be in two places at once, so I sent Josh Dawes out to cover the press event that was happening at Disneyland, and that was a preview of the upcoming live show, Mickey and the Magical Map. That show is going to be officially debuting May 25th in the Fantasyland Theater at Disneyland Park. And it wasn't quite ready yet. Josh didn't get to see the entire show, but he did get a few snippets. He got to see the stage that is brand new with a huge video set piece that kind of is the set piece for the show. It's going to be this big interactive animation-filled video in the background that goes along with everything that will be happening on stage with all the performers, lots of music. Of course, it is Yen Sid's Magic Map, Yen Sid being the wizard, and he is sort of running the show there along with Mickey Mouse. Of course, it is Mickey and the Magical Map. Disney Creative Entertainment's Michael Young was there along with others on his team, showing off the stage, as well as an original song called Journey of the Imagination, which kind of sets up the story of the show, along with a medley of Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas, a Reflection from Mulan, and I See the Light from Tangled. In addition, Josh had a chance to see a backstage rehearsal of a performance of I Want to Be Like You from the Jungle Book, with a really impressive King Louie performing along with a live trumpet player. Other songs that will be included in Mickey and the Magical Map will be from The Princess and the Frog, Little Mermaid, and Lilo and Stitch when it does open on May 25th. So if you want to see some video showing what the video screen is like on the stage, as well as a few snippets from that backstage rehearsal, and read Josh's thoughts on the show preview, head on over to InsideTheMagic.net, and then come back in a few weeks as we await the grand debut of that show. Now, last week we talked about the fact that certain attractions around Disneyland and Disney California Adventure had been closed as a result of some safety violations, and since then, Soarin' Over California has reopened. However, Space Mountain still remains closed. Disneyland has not set a date yet as to when that is going to reopen. That is the attraction that received all the fines. It's the area that Disneyland is spending the most attention to, and we'll stay on top of it and let you know when Space Mountain does reopen at Disneyland. Now, with all of that said, there was some pretty big news outside of the world of Disney as well. Over at Universal Studios Hollywood this week, it's been more than a year since Universal Studios Hollywood first announced that they would be building a version of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and we haven't really heard anything since. Until this week. NBC Universal announced that they will be beginning construction of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in California in late summer of this year. So just a few months away. It's actually going to be part of the first projects of Universal's 25-year evolution plan, as they're calling it. It's a $1.6 billion investment into the area. It's going to include much more than just the Wizarding World, but that is one of the first parts of it. Of course, the Wizarding World is going to include Hogwarts Castle, but they haven't really said what else it's going to include. It's not going to be identical to the one out here at Universal Orlando. It's going to be its own sort of variation on that. And here's some important additional details that Universal Studios Hollywood released. The Gibson Amphitheater and the Curious George attraction at that park are going to be closing in order to make way for the Wizarding World. There isn't a whole lot of room in that park. It's a fairly small, relatively speaking, amount of space, and they don't really have room to expand. So when something new comes, something else has got to go. So it's the Gibson Amphitheater and Curious George that are leaving Hollywood in order to make way for Harry Potter. And in the world of SeaWorld, SeaWorld Entertainment, their IPO took place and did very well. They raised $702 million, issuing about 10 million shares of common stock from SeaWorld, as well as Blackstone, who's a good portion of the owner of them, sold 19.9 million shares. The interesting footnote to all of that is one of the shareholders that bought 80 shares for about $2,200 or so, a little more than that, was PETA, People for the the ethical treatment of animals. Now, if you know the history between PETA and SeaWorld, it's not a pretty sight. PETA has never been happy about SeaWorld's either treatment of animals or how they, keep animals essentially in captivity, make them perform. PETA intends to attend shareholder meetings, introduce resolutions. They are calling for SeaWorld to release all of their whales and dolphins. And now that they're shareholders, that's certainly something puts them in a definitely a unique and new perspective on the whole thing. And I don't know, should be interesting to see what happens when the first shareholders meeting rolls around for SeaWorld. And jumping back out here to Orlando and back to Universal, this time, of course, Universal Orlando. This week, we're already looking ahead a few months to Halloween Horror Nights, my favorite time of the year, Halloween Horror Nights 2013. Universal Orlando has announced the dates, and they are particularly unique this year. There's going to be 27 nights worth of Halloween Horror Nights. It's going to begin on September 20th, so fairly early in the month, and then continues on select nights all the way through November 2nd. So there's going to be 2 Halloween Horror Nights dates after Halloween, which I am particularly excited about because Halloween usually means the end of Halloween. But this year it doesn't. It means I'll be able to go to a Halloween event 2 more times afterward, which I'm really looking forward to. Universal also said that this year's Halloween Horror Nights will be unlike any other year, whatever that means. So we'll find out soon enough. And let's see, the news continues here. There's been quite a lot here, except now we're going to move on away from the parks into the world of television. Disney Channel has announced they're reviving the old game show Win, Lose, or Draw. It's going to be a Disney version, an updated version. They're going to have 2 contestants paired up with a Disney star. And Justin Willman will be the host. He's the host of Cupcake Wars. You might know him from that. So that will be in the coming months. Now, last week I had somebody write in asking about the status of a Disney television show, or rather Disney movies based on theme park attractions. We were talking about Jungle Cruise, Matterhorn, etc. Well, I said that there wasn't really too much of an update on those. Hadn't heard anything recently, but I also forgot about the fact that Disney is working on a television show based on Big Thunder Mountain, and we haven't really heard too much about that since. However, I had somebody call in just this weekend who had a chance to preview an early version of the pilot. So let's hop on over to voicemail now.
Hey, Ricky. I wanted to share an interesting experience I had the other night. I was at, just left the Magic Kingdom with my 2 boys, riding Big Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain, and got home and we're semi-local, and I sat down at my computer, and something I like doing for fun is these online surveys. You can earn a little bit of pocket change doing them. I kind of just do them when I'm watching TV, and usually they're very boring, and it's about, consumer products and household products and entertainment. And I got an email, hey, we'd like you to do one of these surveys. It might take you about 40 minutes. I said, that's fine. I said, we're going to show you an unfinished pilot for a TV show. We'd like some opinions. And boy, was I surprised to watch the pilot for Big Thunder Mountain. And it was roughly a half hour long, no commercials. And they were very clear that it was unfinished. Most of the special effects were not in place. And when there was supposed to be a special effect, they put text on the screen describing what the effect would be. And so I got to watch the whole thing, and then they asked many questions. How did you like this character? Or, what did you think of this character? Or do you want more of this or less of this in the show? And I don't know what legal agreement I probably agreed to. So I'm not supposed to share details, so I won't. But I will say that I found it to be very promising. I think they need to clear up the direction they want to go with it. Is this supposed to be some sort of Lost-like show full of, mysteries? Is it supposed to be more drama? Is it supposed to be appealing to kids, too? They asked that, would you want your kids watching the show? Does it seem like a show kids would like? They even asked, do you think this should be a movie? Do you think it should be a limited run series? Do you think it should be a regular series? Do you think it should be, they said, did you know this is based on a theme park attraction? Does that make that more or less appealing to you? And I will say, though, there were some nice references to both the ride itself and also some references to some Frontier Disneyland things that aren't even necessarily tied to Big Thunder Mountain. So I'd love to be able to share details, and maybe if the show never airs or gets picked up, maybe I can tell you some more. But I really hope it gets picked up. I think there could be a lot of potential. But I was so excited to see this; it was such a surprise. I just had to share it with someone who I thought would find it interesting. So keep up the great work with the show. Thanks.
Well, thanks very much for calling that in. I definitely found it quite interesting. I hope it makes it, I hope it's worthy of making its way to TV. It sounds like you enjoyed it, though it needed some tweaks, and that's why they do this. It's a new world out there where they, test screenings for pilots. Used to be a bunch of people, pulled off the street or signed up in advance and go to a theater and, of course, sign plenty of non-disclosure agreements, and they get that focus group to give their thoughts. Well, now, as you said, online surveys, they can really blast that out so much further and get even more people than just a small focus group to really give their opinions about the direction it's going and what they think, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's good that they're doing that, good that they're trying to craft it into something that everybody would hopefully enjoy, and interesting to hear that there's some sort of mystery elements to it, a Lost style kind of thing, and I don't know, look forward to seeing it if it does make its way on the air. Moving on to the world of movies now. Of course, Iron Man 3 coming up this week. It is hitting theaters, and you can look forward to a review of that coming up in a few days as well. However, it's already opened overseas in many, many countries. About 80% of the foreign marketplace has already seen Iron Man 3, or at least it's available there, and it's done extremely well. It has made $195 or so million overseas already. That beat the Avengers last year, which was a huge movie. That beat the Avengers, which opening weekend brought $185 million. So it did $10 million more than that. Iron Man 3 is going to be a big, big success based on that. It hasn't even opened in Russia or China yet, which are two huge foreign markets. So it seems like Iron Man 3 is definitely tracking to be a ginormous summer blockbuster for Disney/Marvel this year. And speaking of Marvel, Marvel chief Kevin Feige has confirmed that Marvel and Disney do have the film rights to the Daredevil character once again. It was previously licensed to Fox. If you remember, there was a Daredevil movie, though if you saw it, you probably don't want to remember it too much. But anyway, they have that character back, so Daredevil potentially could appear in a future Marvel/Disney film. And final bit of news for this segment, continuing with movies here. Apparently Johnny Depp is in talks to star in another musical film, his first since Sweeney Todd. It would be Disney's film adaptation of the Broadway musical Into the Woods. It is Into the Woods. Rob Marshall apparently is set to direct. He also directed Depp in Disney's fourth Pirates of the Caribbean film, Into the Woods. For those who have not heard of it, like me, is apparently a kind of dark comedy using classic fairy tales kind of mashed up together. Rapunzel, Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella amongst them. Meryl Streep apparently is going to play a witch in the film, so more Johnny Depp most likely in the future for a Disney movie. So that's it for the news from around the world, but not it for the news. We've got a lot to talk about with Disney Cruise Line coming up here in just a minute. And this week's tip comes in from Tony, who writes, if you want to take a break from the parks or simply don't have a ticket to get into a park, something fun to do is hop on the monorail and tour the Contemporary, the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian. Each offers wonderful theming, great shops, great places to eat, and well worth taking the time to see and experience. And if you have time left over after touring all three of these, you can hop a boat to the Wilderness Lodge, take in the amazing details it has to offer. And just because you're not staying at a particular resort doesn't mean you can't pay it a visit. Tony, that is definitely an excellent tip. I'm pretty sure somewhere in the 8-year history of Inside the Magic, I've probably shared that tip before, but it is absolutely worth repeating here because the resort hotels are really attractions unto themselves. They are gorgeous. There is so much going on there worth exploring, worth looking around, and certainly dining around the excellent restaurants at the hotel. Some of the best Walt Disney World restaurants are at the hotels, not at the theme parks. Lots of decorations, lots of character things, interactions, even character dining, etc., etc. So it is certainly worth looking around the hotels. If you don't feel like going to the parks, you don't have a ticket, etc., you could do it, and you don't really have to pay anything to do it either, of course, unless you're eating, in which case it's absolutely worth it. Anyway, everybody else, email your tips into tips@insidethemagic.net. And now, before we move on to the Disney Magic Makeover and something else as well, let me put in a quick word about Capturing Magic, the iPhone apps that are the ultimate tool for documenting and recording the magic of your Disney vacation, whether you're at Disneyland or Walt Disney World. Capturing Magic offers a helpful list of photo opportunities and memories to capture before, during, and after your trip. It is the perfect way to ensure that you don't miss a magical moment while you're in the parks. The app is going to remind you of your desired photo opportunities that you have picked out in advance. When you're near those locations, it pops up and says, hey, take a picture. You wanted to. And whenever you take that photo, you can then use the app to mark off who is in the photo and what camera you took it with. And that way later you can easily organize and, have everything all in one easy to manage place. You can even email yourself a list of all the photos that you took during your trip. So the Capturing Magic iPhone apps are available now by searching the iTunes App Store.
And now, an Inside the Magic contest.
No, I did not forget about last week's contest. Of course, I'm giving away a copy of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, one of my favorite movies. It is the 20th anniversary Blu-ray edition, just released fairly recently, and I threw out some trivia questions on last week's show. Many of you responded. It seems like a lot of you are fans of Roger Rabbit as well. Probably the most contest entries I've gotten in a long time, so thanks to everybody who entered. And let's go through the answers to the questions before I announce the winner here. Of course, the first question was, who is the uncredited voice of Jessica Rabbit? It was Kathleen Turner. I didn't realize until popping in the Blu-ray recently and kind of looking through the bonus features, I noticed Kathleen Turner was nowhere to be found in any of the bonus features, and then I looked it up online, and sure enough, she went uncredited, even though she had such a prominent role. Very interesting there. Number 2, what's the password to the Ink and Paint Club? Of course, Walt sent me. Easy one for Disney fans, of course, referring to Walt Disney Animation. I don't know, you all know that. And finally, last question, how did Roger Rabbit voice Charles Fleischer quite literally get into character while he was on the set? Well, he dressed up in costume as Roger Rabbit under his own request, by his own request. None of the other voice actors, the voice actors were on set. They were providing the voices to go alongside the live, on-camera actors to sort of, play off of them. None of the other ones dressed up, but Charles Fleischer decided he needed to be dressed up as Roger Rabbit on set in order to really make it work, and so they made a Roger Rabbit costume for him. So there you go. Pretty much everybody got the answers right that wrote in. But there's only one winner, and that winner of the Who Framed Roger Rabbit 25th anniversary Blu-ray is Jonathan Glidden. Congratulations, Jonathan. Please send me an email to ricky@insidethemagic.net with your mailing address, and I will get this Blu-ray copy of Who Framed Roger Rabbit out to you as soon as possible. Thanks once again to everybody who played. And now it is time to talk about the Disney Cruise Line, because after weeks of rumors, Disney Cruise Line this week confirmed and announced that their oldest ship, the Disney Magic, is going to be getting a major makeover come September. It's going to be entering dry dock, not emerging until October 10th of this year. And when it does, it will feature a whole lot of new enhancements inspired by the newer Dream and Fantasy ships, with plenty of unique new twists. hosts. Heading up the changes is Imagineer Joe Lancicero. He's been working on Disney Cruise Line for a long time. In fact, at the Monstrous Summer Press event, when he made all the announcements of everything here and went through all the details, he even noted that he worked on the Disney Magic years and years ago when it first launched. You can actually go over to our website, InsideTheMagic.net, or on our YouTube channel to watch the full announcement video from Imagineer Joe Lancicero, see what everything he had to say about it. However, right now I'm going to run through the most exciting highlights of what is coming to the Disney Magic, starting with the upper ship decks. Disney is planning on continuing the story, and I'm really excited about this, of the AquaDunk water slide from the Dream and Fantasy, but it's not exactly what you think. This time around on the Disney Magic, they're not building the AquaDunk. There's not quite enough room. The ship's a little smaller, not quite enough room for a full AquaDunk on the Magic. Instead, we're getting something called the AquaDunk. That's D-U-N-K, not duck, AquaDunk. That's right, it is a 3-story water slide that is going to drop riders downward when the floor just disappears from you underneath. You're going to be standing there, you're going to be upright, you're going to be smiling, and be like, hey, this is a great view of everything, and suddenly, bam, floor disappears. You're going down through a translucent tube, then you zip out over the edge of the ship, much like the AquaDunk. It's going to extend 20 feet over the side of the ship, and it's a pretty short ride. It's maybe 30 seconds long or so at the most, but it certainly looks like a lot of fun. The story of the AquaDunk continues kind of the story of the AquaDunk. In fact, it sort of makes it a bigger story. Donald Duck's nephews, of course, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, are the ones responsible for creating the AquaDunk on the Dream and the Fantasy, as the story goes. And they actually originally created the AquaDunk as a prototype to the AquaDunk. So that's how the story goes. If you head on over to our website or on our YouTube channel, you can see a hilarious preview animation of what this ride is going to be like, what this attraction is going to be like on the Disney Magic, and it features Donald Duck going down the AquaDunk, so you definitely don't want to miss that. Now, quick note here, you must be 48 inches tall to enjoy the AquaDunk, so an important note there, but anybody 48 inches or above, you'll be able to check it out. I am really looking forward to that, because the AquaDunk is absolutely my favorite thing on the Dream and the Fantasy. But it doesn't stop there. Continuing on the upper decks, there's going to be the Aqua Lab, and it's not going to be the same Aqua Lab that's on the Disney Fantasy, but instead an interactive water playground for ages 3 and up with pop jets, geysers, bubblers. It's going to be 1,800 square feet. It will also feature a new Twist and Spout water slide. That's the name of it. Now, this water slide is going to look similar to the one that's on the Dream and the Fantasy, the big twisting yellow one, but it is bigger. It has more twists, and it's going to be available for guests between 38 and 64 inches tall. That I think excludes me. I'm going to try to weasel my way on there. I don't know. We'll see. I'm about 4 or 5 inches too tall for it. Maybe they'll let me do it, but maybe if I, shrink down a little bit. I don't know. But it sounds like that's going to be fun. In addition, for those who are tinier, there's also going to be the Nephew's Splash Zone. That's for guests up to 3 years of age. There'll be pop jets in there, along with squirting figures of Huey, Dewey, and Louie. So a lot of fun up there on the decks, coming soon to the Disney Magic. Moving inside the ship, the kids' areas are getting a major makeover as well. Disney's Oceaneer Club is, of course, open to ages 3 to 12 years old, and it's getting completely reimagined, and this is some big news here. It's going to be Disney's first permanent appearance of anything Marvel. That's right, Marvel's Avengers Academy is what is going to the Disney Magic. It's going to be a high-tech command post that kids will be able to explore. You'll see Iron Man's suit of armor, you'll see Captain America's shield and Thor's hammer, and you can take part in a multi-day immersive entertainment experience. And I know what you're thinking already. Why am I not a kid? Ages 3 to 12. Well, fortunately, when you do get on board, there is an open house period in which you can explore the Oceaneer Club, so adults will have a brief amount of time, just a few hours when you first get on board, to go to the Oceaneer Club and check out this Marvel's Avengers Academy area. You have to see it very quick before they kick you out and say, you know what, this is kids only now. Get out, we're going to have some fun. In addition, throughout the Oceaneer Club, there's also going to be Andy's Room, but it's not going to be like on the Dream and the Fantasy. This Andy's Room is 2 stories. It's a 2 2-level Andy's room with a Slinky Dog slide. That looks like a lot of fun as well. There's going to be a Pixie Hollow area and an area devoted to the Mickey Mouse Club. Then there's also the Oceaneer Lab for the same age range. This is an interactive pirate-themed area that's going to feature an animator's studio, a pirate workshop, and a lab and navigator simulators as well. The popular It's a Small World nursery is going to be coming to the Disney Magic, of course, also on the Dream and the Fantasy. So that rounds out the changes to the kids' areas. Now dining. Lots of big changes for dining on board the Disney Magic. Of course, anyone who's been on the Magic loves Animator's Palette. It's got that wonderful transition from black and white to color, really magical effect. Well, they're updating that with some new high-definition flat screens and also a new Drawn to Magic experience. It's a fresh take, as they're calling it, to that classic dinner experience, in which they're giving it an update. In addition, they're also adding the animation magic show from the Fantasy, where you draw something at your table and then you watch it come to life up on those screens. Next big makeover for the Disney Magic is that Parrot Key. The restaurant is becoming Carioca's. You might recognize that name. It's the name borrowed from Donald Duck's parrot pal from the Three Caballeros, Jose Carioca. It's going to have a Brazilian flair to it, and at nighttime, it's also going to have an extra bit of an upscale flair to it with a changing of the lighting scheme. Cabanas on the ship is getting a makeover, similar to the Dream and the Fantasy, but not absolutely identical. And Palo is also getting a new look as well. The adult areas on the Disney Magic are changing. Beat Street is becoming After Hours. That's the adult entertainment district, and within there are going to be some new clubs. One of them is going to be called Fathoms. That's going to be a nightclub featuring some special effects and lighting and sound. Then there's going to be a piano bar called Keys, and that's going to be kind of a low-key environment, pardon the pun. And then also coming to the Disney Magic will be O'Gill's Sports Bar, straight borrowed from the Disney Fantasy theme. Other changes coming to the Disney Magic will be in the main atrium. When you first step onto the ship, they're getting rid of one of the two staircases. They're making it just one staircase now, and also adding some extra touches to make it more in line with the aesthetic of the Dream and the Fantasy. The Senses Spa aboard the Magic is getting a makeover as well. It's bringing it up to a more contemporary look. The D Lounge is getting a makeover, and the staterooms are also having some changes as well. To elaborate a little bit more on this, of course, there was a lot said, a lot going on. I wanted to find out sort of the motivation behind a lot of it, and of course, explore some more of the information behind that favorite element, the AquaDunk. So I had a chance to talk to an Imagineer who is working on this makeover for the Disney Magic.
My name is Lisa McLarati. I'm a project manager senior for Walt Disney Imagineering, working on the Magic relaunch project.
Excellent. Well, the Magic is certainly an older ship than the Dream and the Fantasy, which launched recently. I had a chance to go on both of those. Phenomenal entertainment and attractions there. Tell me a bit about what you're doing to bring the Magic sort of up to speed with those.
The Magic is an amazing ship, and we got a #1 ship for its size recently, so we have to be very careful to just enhance it to the best that we can. But it is a great ship to start with. It's been magnificently maintained, but we are bringing a lot of amazing things, a lot of lessons learned from things that we've done on the Dream and the Fantasy. We're bringing it to the Magic, enhancing all the kids areas, the adult areas, family areas on the pool deck, all the staterooms, the spa, the buffet restaurant, and it goes on and on. It's definitely a lot that's going to happen. It's going to be an incredible overhaul.
And it's all going to happen in a fairly short amount of time, right? It's just, 6 weeks or so that it's going to be in dry dock?
It is, but the planning that we're doing now, everything is in the works so that it's going to work like clockwork, and we're going to be ready to go.
Well, what I'm definitely most excited about is the new AquaDunk. The AquaDunk is my absolute favorite thing, possibly in the world at this point. In fact, I just got off the Dream just a couple of weeks ago, specifically so I could ride the AquaDunk repeatedly. So what is going to differentiate the new attraction from the one everybody loves on the Dream and the Fantasy?
I'm excited about the AquaDunk too. I want to be one of the first ones to test it out. It's going to be lots of fun. It's more so of a thrill ride. You're going to be in a capsule, countdown, floor drops from beneath you, and you get to go super fast, slide off to the side of the ship through this translucent tube. Real fast, fun thrill ride. So I think it's going to be great. I think the guests are going to love it.
Now, when developing that attraction, were you looking at the size of the Magic, seeing what would fit on there? You wanted to add continue that storyline with Donald and his nephews, but just add something new?
A couple of things that we went through. We pulled up some old blueprints from rejects for the AquaDunk, and we found this great design from Huey, Dewey, and Louie that we wanted to implement on the Magic. It's very important for us to maintain the classic profile lines of the ship. That is what makes our ship so elegant. So we definitely spent a lot of time making sure that the integrity of the design and the classic lines of the ship were not affected. And so that when you see the AquaDunk, it seamlessly integrates with the existing profile of the ship. So I think we've done a really good job at that.
The animation video that you showed was hilarious. Donald going soaring through there. Is that accurate to how fast and long the ride is going to be? I mean, it's going to be a pretty quick experience, right?
It is a very quick experience, but it's a lot of thrill in it, and you might lose some feathers on the way, but it should be a lot of fun.
Well, another very exciting addition, and this is going to be a first for Disney Cruise Line, and it's pretty new to the Disney company, is Marvel making its way onto there. Tell me more about the Avengers Academy.
We're real excited to bring in the Marvel characters into Disney Cruise Line, into our fleet. So it's been a lot of fun working with them, and what we're doing is we're creating the Avengers Academy, where our guests get to really train and become their favorite superhero. So it's an experience that will last throughout the whole cruise, and that they get training every day. And at the end, they get to become their favorite superhero. So it's going to be very fun.
It's part of the updated kids area, right, on the ship?
Yes. So the Oceaneer Club in the lab, which is from 3 to 10-year-old, is getting a complete overhaul, which is going to be great. We're bringing in Andy's room, Pixie Hollow, the Avengers Academy, a new Mickey Mouse Club room, and Oceaneer Club Lab is going to be more of exploration, pirate theme, technology. So there's really something for every child within that age group.
Well, I know there's an opportunity to sort of explore those areas as part of an open house for adults. Will they be able to get up close with the Marvel characters and area at all on the Magic?
Typically the first day of the cruise, there's time that's an open house, so the parents can come with the kids, and the kids can also get more comfortable being in the space and with a counselor, so there is time that the parents can come in and enjoy a little bit with their kids.
A bit more information there about the Disney Magic from one of the talented people who are working on this makeover. I definitely look forward to getting aboard that ship. I've actually never been on the Disney Magic ship. I've only been on the Dream and the Fantasy now, and so I'm looking forward to seeing it. After it comes back from dry dock, after it receives all this makeover. Certainly, I'm most looking forward to seeing the AquaDunk, but I will make sure to do fully explore everything that's new once you get on there. I don't know exactly when I'm going to be getting on there. Hopefully right when it comes out of dry dock, but you never know. We'll see what the schedule lines up there, but I definitely will have to get on board that sometime. A few additional details here. I did ask about virtual portholes, which are a very popular feature on the Dream and the Fantasy, and they're not really talking much about that quite yet. They've said more entertainment will be coming for the Magic that they haven't talked about yet. Also, I asked, well, what about the Disney Wonder? The Disney Wonder apparently is scheduled to go into dry dock next year, and they said, well, we're just talking about the Magic for now, so it seems highly likely that the Wonder is also going to get a similar makeover next year, but we'll wait and see on that. Of course, the Magic is going to spend about 6 weeks in dry dock. It's beginning September 7th, and it will be wrapping up this makeover on October 10th. Then there'll be about 10 days where, the ship will be getting ready for its first voyage. Maybe there'll be a media preview in there, maybe not, I don't know, we'll see. But on October 20th is when it's going to make its first public voyage post-makeover. It's going to be coming out of Miami, sailing out of Miami on a special 5-night voyage with 2 stops at Castaway Cay. After that, it'll be sailing 2, 3, 4, and 5-night cruises from Miami to the Bahamas and the Western Caribbean. So, if you want to find out even more than all of that about the Disney Magic Makeover, as well as check out that video of the announcement of all of that, then head on over to InsideTheMagic.net, check our YouTube channel, and really looking forward to seeing how all of that turns out. It's a good thing. I think the ship's going to look great. And now, before we get to just a little bit of listener feedback here, let me put in a word for our newest sponsor here on Inside the Magic. It is touringplans.com. If you want to save time by avoiding crowds and long lines on your Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or Universal Orlando vacation, touringplans.com is the solution for you. Touringplans.com has everything that you need to plan your trip, including a crowd calendar for planning the best days to visit, and everything for saving time while on vacation, with like a mobile wait time app for your smartphone with personalized computer-optimized touring plans. You can check all of that out at touringplans.com today, and be sure to use discount code ITM to save 20% and start planning your stress-free vacation today.
Hi, Ricky. Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Ricky, this is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Inside the Magic listener feedback.
That was definitely a lot of news this week, and I've just barely scratched the surface. During the Monstrous Summer Press event, I talked to so many people from Imagineers to every other sort of creative capacity job within Disney, chefs, and I don't know, just everything. It's hard to even keep track of everybody that I talk to. Of course, so I'll be sharing all of that in upcoming episodes, talking about many, many more topics than even what was mentioned here. So you can look forward to all of that. But right now, before we round out the show, I did want to just get to a few emails here. So let's jump right into that, starting with Andrew, who writes in saying, I'm a Disney fanatic and fan of the show. I was curious, will TTA Talk ever come back? And do you think we can hear your thoughts on the Simpsons ride and Back to the Future? Well, Andrew, sure. Whenever the opportunity arises that I'm in the park, in the Magic Kingdom with Skipper Ben, or perhaps even anybody else who wants to hop aboard the Tomorrowland Transit Authority with me and chit-chat about things, can do a little more TTA Talk, but I don't know when that'll be. As far as the Simpsons ride and Back to the Future, of course, you're talking about, you could be talking about either out here at Universal Orlando, at Universal Studios Florida, or Universal Studios Hollywood. Both of them closed their Back to the Future attractions a few years ago to be replaced by the Simpsons ride, and for that reason alone, never really been a big fan of the Simpsons ride. It's a good ride. It's enjoyable. It's entertaining. It's the Simpsons. It's, certainly irreverent and comedic and off the wall and zany, etc., etc. But Back to the Future, I love the Back to the Future ride. I love the Back to the Future series, and I really wish I could ride that again. Of course, to do that, I would have to head out to Universal Studios Japan, which I'm tempted to even do, just to ride that maybe someday. Hopefully it won't go away from there before I have a chance to ride it again. But of course, Universal Orlando, unofficially, they haven't announced it yet. They're building an extension to the Simpsons ride of Springfield and Moe's Tavern, Krusty Burger, a few other locations. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. That should be a whole lot of fun to explore. Next email from Mitchell, who writes, just wanted to pop in and say this past week on April 15th marked the 1-year anniversary of my listening to Inside the Magic. I remember that because that was the podcast right after the old test track closed. I'm proud to say that I've listened to almost every episode since then. I love your show, the layout, the features, the segments, everything about your show is fantastic, and it's no wonder why Inside the Magic is always on the What's Hot page on the iTunes podcast store. Mitchell, thanks very much for the compliments, and I read your email here because of that very last thing that you said there. I don't, pay a whole lot of attention to the iTunes podcast section. There's thousands of podcasts listed in there, and you're right. Inside the Magic is frequently under the travel section or society and culture or whatever they call it over there. There's a What's Hot section, and there are many podcasts listed there that are excellent shows, and I am always proud to see the little Inside the Magic logo or the cover art on there. And what that tells me is that so many of you are listening, and that we're getting new listeners as well. A lot of the iTunes rankings not only come from the current number of downloads, but also how many new people subscribe to shows. So, it's all because you all certainly enjoy it, and you've been listening for such a very long time. So thank you for that. And as long as we're featured there, we continually get new people listening to the show, which is a wonderful thing. thing. I don't necessarily encourage going back and listening to all 420 shows that came before this, but I know some of you do that, and that is quite a feat as well. Adam writes in and says, I heard on your show that OSHA found many violations with Space Mountain and Soarin' over California. What I'm confused about is when OSHA inspects Disney World, why wouldn't they find the same problems with Soarin'? Because they're basically carbon copies of each other. Adam, that is a good question. It's a little different. Everything that they found is... most of it zeroed in on Space Mountain specifically, and it sort of gave Disney a chance to revisit their safety procedures behind the scenes of everything, and the key there is behind the scenes. What they were really looking at is the laws of California, the safety laws out there versus what it was there at Disneyland, and it had nothing to do with guests. It was all about the employees and the areas that they work in. So out here in Florida, the laws may be different. The way that they built it backstage may be different. Maybe they improved upon it, etc. It's really hard to say exactly what they would and would not find if they reviewed the same attraction out here, because while it seems like the same show on the surface, there's a lot of infrastructure backstage that I'm sure is very, very different. Next is an email from Jeremy, who writes, I'm a big fan of your show, and in episode 404, I believe, you discussed Avatar Land. I was wondering if you have seen the style of holograms that they have there in the Forbidden Journey and the Legend of Jack Sparrow, and your thoughts on that. Jeremy, I assume you're sort of connecting the two there. Maybe if Avatar could potentially use the same sort of projection technology that Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey uses, and the Legend of Jack Sparrow over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It is an impressive piece of technology for sure. Very, very realistic projections showing up in an actual real-life set environment, making it look like those actors, the famous, of course, Johnny Depp and Daniel Radcliffe and all the rest of them, look like they're standing right there in front of you. It's very believable. It's a very different technology than an audio animatronic, which also can be very lifelike, but for completely different reasons. It's almost just the way your brain kind of processes something. It's like, you're not really looking at the person. What you're looking at is fake. But at the same time, you kind of buy into it and you believe it, and the way that it moves and the way that it talks and the way that it interacts with the environment and the lighting and all of that, that's what really sells the effect. And so I think it's great. I think it's wonderful whenever there's a new technology that makes its way into the theme parks, regardless of the theme, whether it's Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean, or even moving ahead to Avatar. I can imagine that area, if it does get built at Disney's Animal Kingdom, will be just packed with some amazing new technologies, and I look forward to seeing whatever that may be. And because we had so very, very much news this week, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the listener feedback there, but I most definitely do have many more emails and calls as well to share, and I will do so in the coming weeks, but for now, that is it for your listener feedback this week. So that'll do it for show 421. A whole lot of news that we covered this week. You can follow up on even more of all of that by heading to InsideTheMagic.net, where I've put up so very many articles and videos from all of those announcements as well that you can browse through, see the pictures, read even more about it, and there's still so much more to come. As I was just saying a few minutes ago, I've got so many different topics beyond what you may even be thinking of things that will be coming within the next few months. Even later this year or even into 2014. There is so much coming up. Moving into summer is always a very, very busy season in the world of theme parks. Of course, summer is so busy, so all the theme parks really ramp it up and open their new attractions and really look ahead to many exciting things to come, and so I'm looking forward to talking about that all in the coming weeks right here. I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their travel services by visiting magicaltravel.com. Don't forget to look for those Capturing Magic iPhone apps in the iTunes store if you want to help plan when you're going to be taking pictures of all those magical moments that you make throughout Walt Disney World and Disneyland. And if you want to plan a little bit better, make sure you beat those crowds and go on days where you're not going to be waiting in line all day. Check out touringplans.com. Be sure to use code ITM to get your 20% discount there. So once again, InsideTheMagic.net, of course, is our website. It is your source for Disney and theme park news. Many of you were following us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube throughout this event, and really enjoying all of our sort of live looks, live photos, live information from all of it, and then the summaries thereafter. So you can find links to all of that over on the website, along with all of our photos and news and articles and all that good stuff to keep up with all the latest fun between episodes of this show. So thanks to all of you for listening and for watching each and every week. And have a magical week. Bye.
There's a great big beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.